When Junior becomes boss, the ceremony is supposed to make him look like the man who finally won. Jackie is gone, Tony has backed off publicly, the captains accept the arrangement, and Junior gets the seat he has wanted for years. On paper, this is his coronation.
I'd be standing here saying, to our new boss, salute.
It is the old man finally getting the title he thought should have been his from the beginning, but Carmine Sr. does not show up. That absence says almost everything. Carmine is not some random New York boss who forgot to pay respect. He is the head of a much larger, older, richer family. His presence would mean something. If Carmine personally attended Junior's celebration, it would not just be a social gesture. It would be New York publicly recognizing Junior as the real boss of North Jersey. It would make Junior look legitimate, serious, and equal enough to receive Carmine's personal attention. Instead, Carmine sends Johnny Sack. That is not disrespect in the loud sense. It is not a slap in the face. It is colder than that. It is business protocol.
All right, let me get the fuck out of here.
Carmine acknowledges the change, but he does not elevate it. He sends his representative because New York has to be seen, but he does not go himself because Junior's promotion does not deserve Carmine's body in the room. And the reason is simple. Carmine probably understood very quickly that Junior was boss in name more than in reality. Junior gets the title, but Tony keeps the gravity. The Capos may smile at Junior, sit at his table, and let him enjoy the moment, but the real movement in Jersey is still around Tony. Tony is younger, richer, more feared, more connected to the street, and more capable of managing the actual money. Junior has the official seat, but Tony has the crew loyalty, the practical intelligence, and the relationship with the earners. Carmine would notice that immediately. A boss like Carmine does not judge power by who gets the toast. He judges power by who controls the money, who the captains listen to, who can settle a problem, and who can keep business moving. Junior may be wearing the crown, but Tony is still the one people watch before they make a move. That is why Carmine's absence is so sharp. Junior's coronation is important inside Jersey because it solves a local problem. But to New York, it is not important enough to bring the king across the river. Carmine is not interested in Junior's pride. He is interested in whether garbage, construction, unions, no-show jobs, sports betting, and shared scams keep running without interruption. Junior becoming boss does not change the balance of power between New York and Jersey. It does not threaten Carmine. It does not open a major new revenue stream. It does not require a personal negotiation, so Carmine lets Johnny handle it. That also tells us what Carmine likely thought of Junior. He probably respected Junior as an old-timer, at least in the basic ceremonial sense. Junior had history. He had survived. He had a name. He was not some kid pretending to be important. In Carmine's world, age and seniority do matter, and Junior had enough of both to be treated politely. Carmine would not openly embarrass him for no reason. But respect is not the same as belief. Carmine likely saw Junior as limited. Junior was old school, but not in the powerful Carmine way. Carmine's old school nature is calm, strategic, and money-focused. Junior's old school nature is often insecure, reactive, and obsessed with being acknowledged. Carmine behaves like a man who does not need to remind people he is boss. Junior behaves like a man who has spent his whole life feeling overlooked. That is the difference. Carmine can sit quietly, say very little, and still control the room. Junior often has to push, complain, tax people, and demand respect because he can feel that the respect is not naturally flowing toward him. Carmine's power is stable. Junior's power is defensive. So Carmine probably viewed Junior as legitimate enough to deal with, but not strong enough to take seriously as the real center of Jersey. He would know Junior had the title, but he would also know Tony had the future. Junior was useful because he gave the family structure. He was useful because he kept the old rules looking alive. He was useful because he made the arrangement look official. But Carmine probably did not see him as the man who truly controlled North Jersey. That is why Johnny Sack matters so much. Johnny is Carmine's eyes and mouth in Jersey. He spends time around Tony. He understands the personalities. He sees who actually makes things happen. By sending Johnny to Junior's coronation, Carmine gets the best of both worlds. New York is represented, Junior receives formal acknowledgement, but Carmine does not waste personal prestige on a ceremony that may not reflect the real power structure. Carmine's personal presence was reserved for bigger things. He showed up when money was large enough, when violence could damage business, or when a decision required boss-level authority. That is the pattern. Carmine does not appear just because someone wants validation. He appears when the issue touches New York's wallet or the stability of the relationship with Jersey. The biggest example is the Esplanade. That project is exactly the kind of thing Carmine cares about. It is construction, unions, contracts, political access, no-show jobs, and long-term money all wrapped into one. That is not a local Jersey ego problem. That is serious business. Carmine has a direct interest because New York is tied into the profits, and any dispute around it can cost millions. That is why Carmine personally gets involved in the tension between Johnny Sack, Ralph, and Tony. Johnny wants blood over the insult to his wife, but Carmine is looking at the money. Ralph is a major earner. The esplanade is too profitable to jeopardize over personal humiliation. Carmine does not treat Johnny's anger as meaningless, but he refuses to let emotion overrule revenue. That is, Carmine in one sentence, feelings are allowed, but they do not get to beat the money. He also personally involves himself when there are disputes over percentages, construction profits, and shared scams. If New York and Jersey are arguing over who gets what piece of a major score, Carmine does not leave everything to Johnny. Johnny can carry messages, apply pressure, and keep Tony warm, but Carmine is the final authority when the number is big enough. That is when he steps in. He also shows up when murder could create political consequences between families. Killing a made man or allowing a made man to be killed is not a small street decision. It can start a war, ruin partnerships, and interrupt earning. Carmine understands that violence has a cost. He is not soft, but he is careful. A body is only worth it if the business math works. That is why Juniors Coronation does not qualify. No money is being divided there. No major construction project is on the table. No high-level murder needs approval. No crisis between New York and Jersey has to be settled. It is mostly theater. Important theater for Junior, yes. Important theater for Jersey, maybe. But to Carmine, it is not worth attending personally, and that is what makes the scene almost funny in a brutal way. Junior thinks he has finally reached the top, but the most powerful man nearby does not even consider it important enough to attend. Carmine's absence quietly reveals the ceiling above Junior's ceiling. Junior may be boss of Jersey, but Carmine is still operating on a higher level. Junior wants recognition, Carmine wants revenue. Junior wants the room to know he matters. Carmine only enters the room when the matter itself matters. That is also why Carmine's relationship with Tony feels different. Carmine does not necessarily love Tony or fully respect Jersey as equal, but he knows Tony is where the action is. Tony is the person who can make a deal work. Tony is the person who can keep Ralph earning. Tony is the person who can negotiate over construction, garbage, scams, and violence. Tony is useful in a way Junior is not. Junior has status. Tony has leverage. Carmine would understand that distinction perfectly. So when Carmine skips Junior's coronation, it is not because he is careless. It is because he is careful. He refuses to spend personal authority where it brings no return. He sends Johnny because that is enough. Enough respect to avoid insult. Enough distance to avoid overcommitting. Enough presence to monitor the situation. But not enough to make Junior look bigger than he really is. That is the whole Carmine style. He does not need dramatic speeches. He does not need to flex. He does not need to make every decision look personal. His power is in knowing exactly when to appear and when to stay away. Junior, by contrast, spends much of his life wanting the kind of respect Carmine already has. That is why the coronation is so important to him. He wants the title because the title feels like proof. Proof that he was not passed over. Proof that younger men did not jump the line. Proof that he still matters. But Carmine would see the weakness inside that. A real boss does not become real because people throw him a dinner. A real boss becomes real because the money moves through him, the important men answer to him, and the other families must deal with him. Junior gets the dinner. Tony keeps the machinery. That is why Carmine did not go. Not because Junior was nobody, because Junior was not enough.